All right, we're at OHD. Let's check out the virtual production space.
Hey, I'm Meg. I am the virtual production technician and LED wall operator here at OHD Studios. And virtual production is super cool. There's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of really interesting things you can do without ever leaving the studio space.
What tools do we need to use on the camera in order for it to translate onto the screen?
So one really important thing that I have right here is called a tracker puck. We have motion tracking set up in this room so that the virtual world knows exactly where the camera is and where it's pointing, so that then when I move the camera, you see parallax appear on screen. So, you know, if you were looking at just a blank, at like a flat surface and it wasn't moving like this, it wouldn't really look real to your eyes, but you're able to see this parallax effect on screen, which can really help sell that effect. You can see reflections better, you can see objects moving back and forth better. So that's one really important tool. Another important tool that you need on a camera that I don't have set up right now is something called Genlock, which ensures that the frames on the screen are released at the exact same time that the camera captures frames. So if you're sort of like recording a television screen on your phone, you might see some like flickering or some weird lines, but Genlock means that we can eliminate that by ensuring that the frames on the screen happen at the exact same time as the frames are captured in camera. We use a Vive system, which actually goes through Steam VR. If anybody's familiar with Steam, it's for video gaming, so the system was originally built for like VR and AR video gaming, but we can also use it here to identify where exactly the tracker puck is in the room.
Very cool. Okay. Does that mean you have to have quite a bit of light in around this in order for it to be?
We've never had issues with light. The issue is you can actually see there's these tiny little divots on here. I believe there might be 18 of them. They can't be covered up. So if you have if they're all covered up and can't be detected, you can see it's shaking around in there because it's like, wait, I can't see where the thing is.
Okay.
So these have to be visible. We have something called a two-rig system, which means we have one computer, this one right here, that's used for editing the scene, and another that is completely devoted to putting the scene on the LED wall. This computer is just so that I can move things around in the scene. I can move the position of where things are. You'll see it adjust in real time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was playing around with the snow earlier. I can like move the snow, like say someone's like, we don't want snow anymore. I can move it out of the scene.
So the actual virtual landscape is much, much bigger than where actually you're setting your virtual camera.
Exactly. There are hundreds of thousands of assets people have made and are making and are available to find. There's tons of people who their jobs are just building these virtual environments. We don't have that capacity here, so we outsource a lot of our environments, but they're endless possibilities, and they're all really customizable. You know, like I said, we can change the color and the weather and really get whatever you need for the scene.
Yeah, I do know that there's like a lot of like even apps you can get on your phone, even if you wanted to recreate real environments.
Yeah.
Where you can essentially just create 3D maps.
Photogrammetry.
Yeah, exactly. And that helps a lot when it comes to not even just in production, but pre-production.
Yeah.
You can set up all your shots and know exactly how big your room is, how big your space is, where you can put your cameras.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's really nice.
I don't know if you guys heard about this, but in Dune, they actually used Unreal Engine and photogrammetry to predict when the sun would be at certain positions in the sky when they're shooting in these canyons.
Whoa.
They captured the cliffs, put them in Unreal, and were able to move the sun to be like, hey, we need to shoot this at 2 p.m. because the sun is going to be at this position in the sky. So pretty incredible stuff.
Yeah, that's amazing. Look, we're in the winter wonderland right now.
I'm so cold.
It's freezing. Somebody needs to find us. Hitchhikers on the road. Okay, so if we were talking with production about where to shoot the next wintry film that we're about to shoot, what is some of the pros and cons to shooting in a virtual space rather than for shooting on location?
Yeah, so the first thing I would think about is like, what are you shooting? That's going to determine what's best. If you are shooting anything fantasy, if you want to shoot on the moon, you want to shoot in a fantasy forest, you know, whatever. Virtual production is obviously a great choice in that case. because you can go somewhere that you literally can't go in real life. But another thing is, even if you're shooting, you know, something that takes place in the real world, but maybe in a hard to reach location, on a beach, on top of a mountain, virtual production is a great choice for that, because you can, instead of having to go all the way out there and figure out the logistics of getting your crew and your equipment all to this location, you don't have to do that.
That's very fair. And also, I feel like it saves a lot of money and resources for art departments and people who are building props and set design, production designers.
The other thing I want to mention is it's still very important to have props and set designers, because part of what sells this is having foreground elements. You know, if you're just standing in front of a screen and there's nothing in front of you, you aren't going to get that illusion of reality. It's important to have at least some amount of a foreground set to meld the two worlds together.
That's a good soundbite right there.
So these are all AODO panels. I don't remember the number off the top of my head of how many we have, but the wall is comprised of a whole bunch of these little panels, and all of these panels are looped back here to get power, and the distro is behind me, and they come here for their signal to these processors. We have a processor for each half of the wall, the right half and the left half, and the processors get their signal from our computer, which has two NVIDIA A6000 graphics cards. Very powerful graphics cards are kind of required to run a project like this. So it goes from the Unreal Engine software out into the AODO processors. The processors send it all to the wall. That's how we get it out there. If you have a crazy idea, please give us a shout. We'd love to see if we can try to make it happen. We're always finding new ways to play around with the tech we have and learn what's gonna come next.